Hey everyone, this is Hiroton VA here, and we need to talk. First of all, I want to apologize for if my voice sounds a little weird. I'm recovering from a cold, and my left ear has been blocked for the past 3 days, so I can only half hear myself. So I don't know if I'm having good volume control or not. But I've been putting this off for too long because I wanted to make this back on Saturday, but yeah, I don't control when I get sick. Apparently, this is all unscripted. If you couldn't tell by me stuttering and all that, mostly just because I just kind of want to get this off my chest while this is also a general update video. And yeah, so I'll be cutting out parts if I stutter or I lose my train of thought, but I'm gonna get straight to the point since I know that's what a lot of you are here for, especially with what I've said in my community post and what I've said in the past. So, for those of you who are aware, and at least those that actually pay attention to the community posts and such, um, sometime last year, actually, I think it was around this time last year, I said that Sonic stuff was going to be a lower priority on my channel. That ultimately, I don't really have the drive to do stuff for Sonic anymore. And while I do intend on finishing the SMU, it's just kind of in a it's out when it's out basis. It doesn't really have a schedule anymore. And all of my efforts are going to Blaze Blue, which honestly, I just have a lot more drive for. I've been writing like crazy, I've done art assets. I haven't really been active sharing all of them on Twitter or YouTube, mostly because I despise Twitter and all the stuff that's happened there recently. But just in general, I've just been very active with that series. And we've gone on a bit of a hiatus from it just because we've been very busy with other stuff and, real life stuff got in the way. But I assure you, I have videos that are coming out, and a lot of them are very close to finishing. There's just kind of factors about it that are out of my control. But I digress. So when it comes to Sonic content, I want to just kind of be real with you for a minute. Sonic used to mean a lot to me, and to a degree, he still does. This is one of the franchises that I held near and dear to my heart, that it's gotten me through a lot of bad times. I love the characters, I love the music. In terms of the games that actually gave a shit, I love the story. I love, just the expanded, lore, and, before I say anything else going forward, I do want to preface that, I don't hate all of the community. I know that it's a bad stereotype that the Sonic community is awful, and it is, but not everyone is awful. I just want to get that out of the way. Because there are things that the Sonic community has made that are legitimately really good. And there are friends that I've made along the way in both the VA community and the Sonic community that I'm still friends with, and they're people that I consider really close. But sometime around last year, when I said I wanted to make Sonic a lower priority, I think it ultimately hit me, a few months ago, actually, that I just kind of don't like the series anymore. And, it's a combination of a few things. It's just kind of becoming apathetic towards everything in terms of, Sonic. Sure, I've said before that, Frontiers was a step in the right direction for Sonic. I think it's a good game. Story is a little confusing, but otherwise, I think Ian Flynn's doing a good job. Gameplay-wise, it's pretty good. It got some emotional moments out of me. But, I still haven't beaten it, and I don't really feel the need to beat it. 2022 was one of the worst years of my life, which, for those of you who know, well, you know, and for those that don't, let's just say for 6 months, everything just kind of went to shit. My mental health was at its lowest point. I was really struggling with, quite honestly, finding reasons to live. And I have my friends to thank for, you know, me still being here, but it really did take a toll on me mentally. Especially when, like, I was essentially just ostracized from the VA community. I got kicked out of projects that I really enjoyed being a part of and still not allowed back in. And while it's been 2 years since then and things have, gone back to normal, a lot of stuff just, hasn't been the same and it will never be the same. And a lot of what happened just kind of opened my eyes to how much I just don't like the community anymore. I don't enjoy the Sonic games that have been coming out lately. Like, Dream Team is okay. I haven't really played it because I don't have Apple Arcade, nor do I have any desire to get it. Like I said, Frontiers, I think it's good, but I kind of don't really have the urge to play it again, or complete it. I'm looking forward to Sonic X Shadow Generations, absolutely, but even still, that's mostly because it's a re-release of a game that I already enjoy, and it's just adding on more stuff of a character that I really like. And just, I think it was around all the Frontier stuff where it was a weird feeling, like, seeing my friends, who some of them aren't like, even Sonic fans, and they were talking about, like, how much they enjoy Frontiers, how much they like the music and all that. And I'm just here where it's like, it just kind of sounded like noise to me. Like, I think everything about it's okay. I don't really get the hype behind it. I think the new form of Supersonic is honestly kind of stupid. And just going back to when I started up my projects again, when I came back in early 2023, I realized a lot of the drive I had for the SMU was gone. And that's, like, besides the exodus of, like, a lot of actors and all that. I just don't like the Sonic community. And, like, I've accepted that I'm never going to be on the same level as other people in the community where they go to conventions, like, they have all this, like, renown and all that. Me, I'm just a guy that, has his own interpretation of the story, and I just wanted to share it with everyone. And whether or not it was, widely accepted or not, that was never the point. It was really just to tell a story and just kind of get it out there. The praise is nice, and, like, of course I appreciate the people that say that, like, oh, like, you've been an inspiration to me and all that. Like, I'm always grateful for hearing stuff like that, but I've come to a point where I just don't want to be associated with Sonic anymore. Like, that part of my life is over. And I've felt this way for a very long time, and I didn't really know how to go about it. Especially because, the SMU is big. Like, it's this, well, as the title says, it's the universe. Like, there's a bunch of stuff connected to it. There's all these projects and plans that I've had for it that the more I look at it, the more daunting it all is. And there's still stuff I want to work on, sure. But ultimately, I just look at it and it's like, I just don't wanna. Like, I just kind of don't want to anymore. The biggest hurdle is probably the DLC episode of Sonic Adventure, which I advertised last year. And having to wait on actors and asking for redos aside, it's still going. Like, I've been editing it here and there when I have the free time. But even though I've gotten about, like, 60% of the way through it, every time I open up Vegas to work on it, I just kind of sit there for a minute and be like, what am I doing? You know? Like, I've gotten to a point where I just don't really want to keep going with it. And you might have noticed that the latest Sonic Boom episode, which unfortunately was taken down because of copyright, that one wasn't directed by me. I helped, if anything. But, like, it's the first SMU material that I didn't work on. And there's more to come that I help with, but it's not specifically made by me, nor is it directed by me. And I think I'm fine with that. That I've gotten to this point where I just want to separate myself from Sonic. like, I totally get where some of my friends are coming from, where they don't want to be associated with this franchise anymore. I don't like the community. Again, not everyone, but I overall don't really like the community. I I don't like the games anymore. At least the stuff that happened after Generations. Like, Lost World is a mixed bag, but like Generations, I kind of consider the last good game in my opinion. I do still like Sonic Boom, but like I just it's just too much. Like, I just don't really feel the need to delve into it like I wanted to before. And bringing on all these other people, which, some of them are really nice, that, like, they have a lot of ideas, like, some of them are really good editors, like, and I'm really happy to have them. But my server has kind of fallen very quiet, and I feel bad about that. Because, like, all these people, like, they look up to me, like, they join, they're ready to, work on stuff, and I get this existential dread that I've just kind of failed them in a way, and I failed a lot of people because I want out. I just don't want to be with Sonic anymore. I don't really enjoy it, and I can't force myself to work on something that I don't like anymore. And I'm gonna be completely blunt when I say this. It's also because, like, I'll get comments here and there on my videos that, like I said, I appreciate praise and constructive criticism, but a lot of the times it's mostly just kids, and honestly, I don't want my viewer base to be that. Like, I don't mind if kids watch my thing, but at the end of the day, those comments usually boil down to, like, oh, can I be in your project? Or, oh, can I voice Sonic when, he already has a voice? Or stuff like, oh, I didn't like this because you're ugly. And like, that's stuff I can just normally avoid, but I hate seeing stuff like that. Because it just kind of makes me realize I'm going to be remembered just for my Sonic stuff, and I don't want that to be my identity. Am I happy that, like, people discover me through it? Sure. But I don't want that to be all I'm known for, and I don't want that to be my future as well. That being said, I'm gonna just be transparent here. I have a set of stories that I've written down that I'm going to cover for the SMU. These are all stories that I was going to do eventually, but I finalized it down to a list of about, like, 17 or 18. Which, that's still a long list. Like, I'm still going to be working on it for, like, about a few years. Because, projects take a while. But this list, which I'm going to show on screen right now, this is all she wrote. I'm going to be working on these projects, and then I'm done. You might notice from this list that there are a lot of things missing, like, the entirety of the classic Sonic series isn't here. I don't mention anything from Sonic Boom. There was going to be Mario stuff, which I'm not covering. Jespo Voices will be doing that whenever he gets around to doing it. But these are the stories that I'm personally going to cover because I'm still invested in it. And some of these, like Sonic Adventure Trilogy, Sonic Adventure DX Final Mix, I know it's a mouthful. That's just redoing an old project that I know I could do better on. And I've always wanted to go back to the first adventure because I wasn't really happy with how it turned out. So, like, that's still on the plate. And I also have, people have been trying to re-upload the last story for SA2 since it got taken down due to copyright. And while I appreciate it, I had to request those videos be removed because they did not ask my permission for that. I have been planning a re-release of it, which is, it's mostly ready. I just don't have a release date for it yet. But yeah, like, going down this list here, these are all the stories that I'm going to cover. For those of you who were worried that I was going to abandon Klonoa or Knights, no, I'm still going to cover those, because Klonoa 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. It has a very special meaning to me, and I've been afraid of adapting it just because I don't want to do it injustice. but that's one that I absolutely want to do, and one that I was always going to do. And over here is like all the stuff like, the solo character spin-offs, like Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow's having his own sequel. I'm covering Billy Hatcher, which doing a different take on it. There's going to be a Mario and Sonic crossover. I'm doing the Boost trilogy, technically. And while I'm not covering Sonic Rush, I am covering the other two R games. So that's also on the chopping block. But yeah, so I know that some of you are going to be disappointed in this. Like I've seen plenty of people say that, they respect my decision to step away from Sonic stuff and just work on what I'm actually passionate on, and I'm very appreciative of the support that I got. There have been some people who have said that they don't want to watch my stuff if I'm not going to work on Sonic, and that's perfectly fair. Like, I can't really be a hypocrite when, say, like, oh, you never supported me, like, if that's all you're interested in, because there's plenty of people that work on stuff that I'm not interested in that I'm subscribed to, and I just kind of skip those videos, so, I won't be a hypocrite in saying that. I get where you're coming from. But overall, I have to do this for my sake and do what makes me happy, and Sonic just doesn't give me joy anymore. I'll still voice the characters and stuff, like for other projects and, for the rest of the videos that I'm doing for SMU, but I'm done once I reach Endgame. That won't be for a while now, but now there's essentially a finish line. And I should say, too, for the games that I'm not going to cover, like the classic series and all that, I'm not going to leave you guys completely hanging to dry with that, because I know with my storytelling, I tend to bring up stuff that I haven't written yet, and I say I'll explain later. And now that I've limited myself to only working on a few of the projects instead of working on the entire franchise, there's going to be context missing. For that, and I won't do this now, this will only be when I feel up to it, and, it won't be immediately. I'm going to have a short video, probably just a short video, like, having a summary of what happens in that game that I wrote down in my notes. But that's basically just going to be it. If someone else wants to cover that game for me, like Jespo Voices will be covering Sonic Heroes. He already released the first script in the server, so there's that to look forward to. I'm perfectly fine with people coming aboard and covering the stories that I'm skipping, so long as they meet my bullet points and I'll still supervise it. I just personally don't want to cover it. And, again, this won't be right away. This will be when I have the time and when I feel motivated to do so. On my second channel, Venom Dimitri, the ones that I'm skipping, I'll also be just recording just a straight playthrough of them, but they'll have edits and, music and context changes that I was going to include in a project. They just won't have, the voice acting and all that. It'll primarily just be gameplay. I feel like that's a fair compromise for the stuff that I'm skipping, just so you at least see it, instead of just kind of, having to fill in the blanks yourself. And sure, I'll still leave some stuff ambiguous, because that's just kind of how I roll as a storyteller, but yeah. So, that's basically everything that I wanted to say in this update video, and like I said, I'm sorry that I rambled on. I appreciate those that stayed to hear the full explanation, and like I said, I just kind of need to do what makes me happy, and Sonic just doesn't make me happy anymore. I want to be done with this franchise. I want to be separated from it, disassociate. I'll still voice the character in the future, so long as I'm, still able to voice act, hopefully, God forbid. But yeah, so this is essentially it. These 17 to 18 or so stories, and then I'm done. So thank you all for watching this video, and yeah, again, I can't guarantee when the next Sonic video will be. It all kind of depends on, when things are turned in and when I have the free time, and Again, it's not on a schedule anymore. You'll most likely see a Blaze Blue video beforehand, because again, that is kind of where all my efforts are going to. But yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you guys next time.